welcome to the Cory Doctorow podcast. Sorry it's a few days late. I've been a little bit preoccupied. We had a crazy day yesterday. My daughter Posey was running a daycare when I went to pick her up, and she actually did a header, tripped over her own toes, and did a header into the door, and gave herself a really big bruise on her forehead. We actually had to go to the emergency room and make sure there wasn't any concussion, which there wasn't. And actually the University College Hospital people here in London were just brilliant. They saw her inside of 5 minutes and we were on our way inside of 15. It was really good. But it was a bit of a scare. So on this Friday, I'm headed to Washington, D.C., where I'm going to be at the American Library Association conference. So I'm going to see all my library friends there. If by chance you're not a librarian or not going to ALA, you can still catch me on Sunday the 27th at 3 p.m. I'll be at Red Emma's Books in Baltimore. This is an event co-sponsored by Node, which is the hackerspace there. And then on Monday at 6:30 p.m., there's a special copy night that I'll be speaking at. It's co-sponsored by Public Knowledge and the New America Foundation, and New America are also hosting it. Both of these need RSVPs. You can find the details at craphound.com. Both of them are free, of course. And then in the UK, I've just gotten the first copies of all of my new British books. My publisher, Harper Voyager, has brought out local British editions of all of the novels that came out from Tor Books. And over the last several years. Oh, there's the alarm clock. And a little knapsack on my back. I love my cuckoo clock. Anyway, so on the 20th of July at Clerkenwell Tales, we'll be celebrating those releases in along with China Mayville's new book at Clerkenwell Tales in Clerkenwell in London. Again, that needs an RSVP. It's hosted by English Pen's Robert Sharp, and the event's set for 7 p.m. And again, you can find details at craphound.com. The new Harper editions, for those of you who are interested, are for Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, Eastern Standard Tribe, Someone Comes to Town, Someone Leaves Town. So I hope you'll pick those up and have a look. The story I'm going to start reading to you this week is called I Love Paree, and I wrote it with Michael Skeet, I think around 1998 or 1999, so it's more than a decade old. And it sold to Asimov's and was published in December 2000 in Asimov Science Fiction magazine. So this is a real old story, and I'm podcasting it with Michael's permission. Michael's still writing. He's in Toronto. And I'm really happy with how this one came out. I think it might be the first really successful collaboration I ever did, if not the first, one of the first. And it was really the template for what a great collaboration could look like. As I recall, I wrote a bunch of this story, but kind of ran out of steam, and then Michael and I sat down on a weekend and figured out how it was going to go, and we spent several days working at it at a retreat in probably at Harthouse Farm in Ontario. I'm not sure exactly even where we went to retreat. It's all lost in the mists of history. So without further ado, here's some I Love Paree by Cory Doctorow and Michael Skeet. I Love Paree by Cory Doctorow and Michael Skeet. Day 1, the night the lights went out in dial tone. Gay Paree was in full swing when the libertines conscripted the Trustafarians. Me, I should have seen it coming. After all, that's what I do. I was an OPH, Old Paris Hand, there before the communards raised their barricades, there before the Boule Disney became a Trustafarian chill zone, a creaking antique expat who liked his café and croissant and the International Times crossword in the morning. I love Paree, love the way I could stay plugged into everything while soaking in the warm bath of centuries. I love the feeling of being a part of a special club. We OPHs always managed to look out for one another, always managed to find the time to play at baseball in the Bois de Boulogne when the weather was good. Not even civil war had been able to change that, and that I loved about Paree most of all. Normalement, I would have been in bed when the club dial tone was rated, but that night I was entertaining Sissy, a cousin come from Toronto for a wild weekend, and Sissy wanted to see the famed dial tone. So we duded up, me in rumpled whites and hiking boots with calculated amounts of scuff, Sissy in Pomo Empire dress and PVC bolero jacket and a round bowler hat and plume, and we sauntered over the epoxy resin cobblestones to the dial tone. I played it for all it was worth, taking Sissy past the Memorial Crater Arrondissement, along the echoing locks on the Seine where the sound of distant small arms fire ricocheted off the tile and whizzed over your head, past the eternal flame burning in the smashed storefront of the Burger King flagship store, and finally to the dial tone. Fat Eddie was bouncing that night, and I waggled my eyebrows at him surreptitiously, then at Sissy, and he caught on. "Mr. Rosen," he said, parting the crowd with a beefy forearm. "An unexpected pleasure. How have you been?" Sissy's eyes lit up Christmas, and her grip on my elbow tightened. "You know, Edward, just the same all the time. A little poorer with every passing day, a little older, a little uglier. Life goes on." Fat Eddie smiled like the Buddha and waved aside my remarks with an expansive sweep of his arm. "You merely improve with age, my friend. This is Paree, monsieur, where we venerate our elder statesmen. Please, who is this lovely young woman with you?" "Sissy Black, Edward Moreno. Sissy is my cousin, here for a visit." Fat Eddie took Sissy's hand in his meaty paw and feinted a kiss at it. "A pleasure, mademoiselle. If there's anything we can do for you here at the Club Dial Tone, anything at all, don't hesitate to ask." Sissy flushed in the gaudy neon light and shot a glance over her shoulder at the poor plebe stuck behind the velvet rope until Fat Eddie deigned to notice them. "Nice to meet you, Edward," she managed, after a brief stammer, and kissed him on both cheeks. This is a Trustafarian thing, something she'd seen on the tube, but she did it gamely, standing on tiptoe. Not Fat Eddie's style at all, but he's a pro, and he took it like one. He opened the door and swept her inside. I hung back. "Thanks, Eddie, I owe you one." "You don't think I laid it on too thick?" he asked, rubbing at the lipstick on his cheeks with a stera wipe. I rolled my eyes. "Always, but Sissy impresses easily." "Not like us, huh, Lee?" "Not like us." I'd met Eddie playing dominoes on Montmartre with 5 frères, and he'd been winning. It could have gotten ugly, but I knew the frère CO, and I sorted it, and then took Eddie out and got him bombed on ouzo at a Greek place I knew, and he'd been a stand-up guy for me ever since. "Everything cool tonight?" "Lots of uniforms, but nothing special. Have a good time." I walked inside and paused in the doorway to light a stinking jetin, something to run interference on the clouds of perfume. Sissy was waiting nervously by the entrance, staring around her while trying not to. The kids were all out in Trustafarian rags and finery, shaking their firm booties and knocking back stupid cocktails in between sets. "What do you think?" I shouted into her ear. "Lee, it's soup dupe," she shouted back. "You want a drink? Okay." The bartender already had a Manhattan waiting for me. I held up 2 fingers, and he quickly built a second for Sissy, with a cherry. I unfolded some ringgits and passed them along the bar. He did a quick check on the scrolling currency exchange ticker beneath the bar and passed me a clattering handful of communard francs. I pushed them back at him. Who needed more play money? I guided Sissy past a couple of stone-faced frères to an empty booth near the back and took her jacket from her and put it on the bench next to me. She took a sip of her Manhattan and made a face. Good. If I kept feeding her booze she didn't like, she wouldn't knock back so much of it that I had to carry her out. "It's amazing!" she shouted. "You like it?" "Yeah, I can't believe I'm really here. Godly, you're the best!" I don't take compliments well. "Sure, whatever. Why don't you dance?" It was all she needed. She tossed her bowler hat down on the table and tore off to the dance floor. I lost sight of her after a moment, but didn't worry. The dial tone was a pretty safe place, especially with Fat Eddie making sure no smooth-talking Trustafarian tried to take her back to his flat. I sipped my drink and looked around. There were a lot of uniforms, as Eddie had mentioned, and as many here at the back of the club as up near the door. Libertines didn't come up to the Boule Disney too often, too busy being serious communards, sharing and fighting and not washing enough for my taste. Still, it wasn't unheard of for a few of the frères to slum it up here where the Richies played at Bohemian. These ones were hard cases, toughened street fighters. One of them turned in profile, and I caught his earrings. These wackos wear 'em like medals, and was impressed. Pierre was a major veteran, 20 confirmed kills in the Battle of Versailles to boot. I began to think about leaving. My spidey sense was tingling. I should have left. I didn't. Sissy was having a wonderful time, kept skipping back, and after the second Manhattan she switched to still water. No fizzy water for her, it makes cellulite apparently. I was chewing on a tricky work problem and working on my reserve pack of jetins when it all went down. The sound system died. The lights came full up. Fat Eddie came tumbling through the door, tossed like a rag doll, and he barely managed to roll with the fall. A guy in power armor followed Fat Eddie in, leaving dents in the floor as he went. Throughout the club, the frères stood and folded their arms across their chests. I gave myself a mental kick. I should have seen it coming. Normalement, the frères stick together in dour, puritanical clumps, but tonight they'd been spread throughout the place, and I'd been too wrapped up to notice the change in pattern. I tried to spot Fat Eddie out of the corner of my eye without taking my attention away from the frères. At first, I couldn't see him at all. Then he turned up, looking dazed, in front of the door to the Daltons' aged, semi-functional kitchen. For a moment, I turned to look at him. He gave me a worried smile, touched his finger to his nose, and faded through the door. A second later, a frère moved in to block the kitchen, standing in front of the door through which Fat Eddie had just vanished. I wish I knew how to roll with the punches the way that Fat Eddie did. The PA on the power armor crackled to life, amplifying the voice of the Pierre inside to teeth-shaking booms. "Monsieur and Madame, your attention, please." Power armor had a pretty good accent, just enough coq au vin to charm the ladies. A Trustafarian with a floppy red rooster's crest of hair made a break for the fire door, and a beefy frère casually backhanded him as he ran, sending him sprawling. He stayed down. Someone screamed, and then there was screaming all around me. Power armor fired a round into the ceiling, sending plaster skittering over his suit. The screaming stopped. The PA thundered again. "Your attention, please. These premises are nationalized by order of the Pro Tem Revolutionary Authority of the Sovereign Paris Commune. You are all required to present yourselves at the 3rd Precinct Recruitment Center, where your fitness for revolutionary service will be evaluated. As a convenience, the Pro Tem Revolutionary Authority of the Sovereign Paris Commune has arranged for transport to the recruitment center. You will form an orderly single-file queue and proceed onto the buses waiting outside. Please form a queue now." My mind was racing, my heart was in my throat, and my jetin had rolled off the table and was cooking its way through the floor. I didn't dare make a grab for it in case one of the frères got the idea that I was maybe going for a weapon. I managed to spot Sissy, frozen in place on the dance floor, but looking around, taking it in, thinking. The Trustafarians milled toward the door in a rush. I took advantage of the confusion to make my way over to her, holding her hat and jacket. I grabbed her armor and steered her towards power armor. "Monsieur," I said, "please, a moment." I spoke in my best French, the stuff I keep in reserve for my meetings with snooty Swiss bastards who are paying me too much money. Power armor sized me up, thought about it, then unlatched the telephone handset from his chest plate. I brought it up to my ear. "What is it?" "Look, this girl, she's my mother's niece. She's only been here for a day. She's young, she's scared." "They're all young. They're all scared." "But she's not like these kids. She's just passing through. Has a ticket from Orly tomorrow morning. Let me take her home. I give you my word of honor that I'll present myself at the recruitment station." The hell I would. "First thing in the morning, as soon as I see her off." I was interrupted by the frère's laughter, echoing weirdly in his armor. "Of course you will, monsieur, of course. No, I'm sorry, I really must insist. My name is Lee Rosen. I'm a personal friend of Commandant Ledoit. Radio him. He'll confirm that I'm telling the truth." "If I radioed the Commandant at 0300 hours, it would go very hard on me, monsieur. My hands are tied. Perhaps in the morning someone will arrange an appointment for you." "I don't suppose you'd be interested in a bribe." "No, I don't really think so. My orders were very strict. Everyone in the club to the recruitment center. Don't worry, monsieur. It will be fine. It's a glorious time to be in Paree." There was a click as he shut off the phone, and I racked it just as the PA reactivated, deafening me. "Quickly, my friends, quickly! The sooner you board the bus, the sooner it will all be sorted out." Sissy was staring hard at the confusion with grave misgivings. She clutched my shoulder with white knuckles. "It'll be all right, don't worry," I shouted at her. "It's a glorious time to be in Paree," I muttered to myself. All right. I probably won't talk to you next week because I'll be in D.C., but I'll catch you the week after. Have a great couple of weeks. Happy solstice. Bye. You've been listening to the Cory Doctorow podcast, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial Share-alike US 3.0, or as Woody Guthrie put it in another context, this song is copyrighted in the US under seal of copyright 154085 for a period of 28 years, and anyone caught singing it without our permission will be a mighty good friend of ourn, because we don't give a darn. Publish it, write it, sing it, swing to it, yodel it, we wrote it, that's all we wanted to do. Many thanks to John Taylor Williams for mastering. That's Ryneck Studio, WRYNECK Studio at gmail.com. John Taylor Williams is a full-time self-employed audio engineer, producer, composer, and sound designer. In his free time, he makes beer, jewelry, odd musical instruments, and furniture. He likes to meditate, to read, and to cook. Talk to you next week.